Hello, I'm Bruce Goldstein. I'm president of Farmworker Justice. Welcome to the Farmworker Justice National Awards for 2020. Each Tuesday during Hispanic Heritage Month, we are paying tribute to people who have helped advance the interests and justice of farm workers and other Latino immigrants in the United States. We'll be honoring this year's awardees through a series of 30-minute presentations on Zoom that are presented on our Facebook page and other social media. So please log on to farmworkerjustice.org, our website, to see our list of awardees and the schedules for each of them, and to watch the previous awards in this series. Before we begin, I would like to say a little bit about the work of Farmworker Justice. FJ, or Farmworker Justice, was founded in 1981 to provide farm workers with help to have a vigorous voice in the nation's capital. But to do that, it requires a very interdisciplinary approach. We do policy analysis, advocacy in Congress and federal agencies, litigation against employers and against government agencies that violate the law, capacity building of community-based organizations, public education, and corporate social responsibility initiatives. We focus our work around immigration status, wages and working conditions, occupational safety, health and access to health care, and the corporate responsibility in the food supply chain. We work with groups all over the country and have two of our staff who are located in California. Our events, like these virtual awards presentations, although there's a real award that goes with it, provide us with an opportunity to raise important financial resources so that we can carry out the work that's so important to meeting the needs of farm workers and farm worker organizations around the country. We'd like to extend our gratitude to all our supporters who've made these awards presentations possible. They include the California Community Foundation, the United Nurses Associations of California, Union of Healthcare Professionals, AARP, and Good Farms. So let's begin. Today, we honor Maria Elena Salinas with the Social Justice in the Media Award. Maria Elena, welcome.
Thank you so much, Bruce. I'm beyond honored to be here and that you considered me for this recognition. Thank you.
Well, it's well-deserved. Our board of directors and our staff, our advisory council, all felt very strongly about this. So Maria Elena is the daughter of working class immigrants, and through that experience and lens, she tells the story of the American Latino and Latina and delivers the hard news in America. She's perhaps most well known for being the co-host of Univision's evening news program, Noticiero Univision, and for 18 years co-host and correspondent of the news magazine, Aquí y Ahora. She's a contributor to CBS Network National News Today. She's a Peabody Award-winning anchor. She's the winner of multiple Emmy Awards for her work in journalism. She's the recipient of the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award. And I might add, Edward R. Murrow is famous for Harvest of Shame, a 1960 documentary film that really blew the lid off of the treatment of farm workers in this country and led to the passage of several of the major reforms of labor laws that finally would cover farm workers, including the minimum wage in 1966. She's the recipient of the Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Television and Political Journalism, and she's been described as the voice of Hispanic America by the New York Times. She began her journalistic career in television as a reporter, anchor, and public affairs host for KMX 34 in 1981. Her insightful reporting on the impact of daily news to the increasingly growing Latino community led to her promotion to other positions. And she has interviewed, in those roles, she's interviewed world leaders and, of course, figures such as former US Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Maria Elena has thrived in the role of connecting with viewers by delivering the news in a straightforward and rapid-fire style, bringing great intelligence to the questions that she poses to her interviewees. The news, especially when it comes to issues that impact the American Latino and Latina and the social injustices they face in the United States of America, she's recognized as a leading journalist. Her revealing and eye-opening news reports on the plight of immigrants in America are unmatched. Maria Elena, thank you so much for being such an influential and impactful journalist and for joining us today.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. And you're absolutely right. I do care very much about the injustices that our people face, but you know, it's part of a journalist's job, holding those in power accountable for the decisions that they make and the effect that they have on people.
So I wanted to ask you just a few questions before we get some help in presenting you with the award. First, what's the toughest news assignment that you ever had to report? And by the way, I was the editor of my high school newspaper, so I really have always been interested in journalism.
Well, you know, that kind of a question is almost like asking me, which daughter is your favorite daughter? You know, they're all tough and they're all interesting and they're all, you know, special. It's been almost 4 decades, so there have been many, many stories. Some are tough on a professional level and others on a logistical level. And then there's others that are on a personal level. But if I had to choose, I would say that it's natural disasters that I have covered that have really gotten to me. There's this unwritten rule that journalists are not supposed to get emotionally involved in a story. But when you see so much human suffering, it's difficult not to. And it's difficult not to feel guilty and frustrated when you leave and go on to the next story and you go back home to your air-conditioned house and hug your family, knowing that you left behind people who have lost so much, not only their home, but their loved ones too. Those are the types of stories I think that have always gotten to me. And you know, it's frustrating not to be able to do more than just tell their story and hope that someone will listen and watch and that someone will take compassion and continue to help them.
Right, and very understandable. And of course, the wildfires in California and the Pacific Northwest right now are affecting a huge number of people, including farm workers who are often out there in the fields. You know, the reports and the photographs of them under the orange sky, they're just incredible. And
yeah, it's very sad, especially because it's not just that they are working under these very difficult conditions, but many of them are losing their homes too. So it's a difficult situation.
Right. So my next question is, how did your background and your surroundings growing up shape the way you developed as a journalist and the person you are today?
Well, I think, you know, ever since I started working at KMEX Channel 34 in Los Angeles, even though the profession was something new for me, I always felt as if I was reporting to a community that I was a part of, because like many of our viewers, I'm the daughter of Mexican immigrants. My family, like so many other families, was a working class family that faced many of the struggles and challenges that our viewers faced. But I think it was actually my reporting in the first few years of my career that really helped shape me into the person that I am now. And I guess I would describe that as someone with a social conscience, with something that I think I inherited from my father, someone who is committed to empowering my community. The political empowerment of our Latino community has always been important to me, but also empowerment through information and empowerment through education. And part of it is because I have always been connected with my community, and I can see that the information that we provide for them, not just because it's in their language, but because we're telling them how life can be easier in what to some is their newly adopted country. So we know how they can make a difference in their lives, and that is very gratifying.
Well, that is a good segue to my final question, which is, what role can objective journalists and their publications and news outlets play in advancing social justice, but still remain committed to reporting news in an unbiased fashion?
Well, you know that the word objective is one that has been a point of contention with journalists. The minute that you choose to cover one story over another, you're not necessarily being objective. But I'm a little bit old school in that sense, and I do think that we need to keep our opinion out of news reporting. The goal is to be balanced, and up to a certain point, it is a journalist's responsibility to provide context to a story, which is different than editorializing or giving your opinion. In a way, we're forced to do so because in this era of social media, there's just so much misinformation out there that it's important for us to clarify and to try to make some sense out of it. When we in the media have a huge responsibility to advance social justice through our reporting, we really have to think about what that means to us and the impact that we're making. And usually journalists of color, when we are hired by our outlets, we are asked not to put our own feelings and thoughts into reporting. But I think ever since this whole movement with Black Lives Matter has really gotten going, I think that we're rethinking that and realizing that because of the knowledge that we have with our communities, now it is important for us to bring that expertise. I do believe that in general, the media has taken the responsibility serious. And, as you mentioned, I am now a contributor with CBS News, and I do see that every single day in all the editorial calls with the creation now of a race and culture unit that includes diverse voices of all the employees. So what makes it difficult is the credibility crisis that we face as journalists because of the very irresponsible rhetoric that accuses the media of being fake and the enemy of the people. And I think that is actually very dangerous to our democracy.
Yeah, as someone interested in journalism as well as social justice, I completely agree. But we're pleased to be able to honor you in the best traditions of journalism. So to help us present your award, we've asked someone who's not a stranger to news reporting or to you. This is Hugo Balta. Hugo is the past president for 2 terms of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. He's a premier authority on Hispanics or Latinos in the media. He's an award-winning broadcast and digital media news executive. His roles include a senior producer at MSNBC, and many other roles, including Balta Enterprises and president of the Hortensia Zavala Scholarship Corporation. So Hugo, welcome. It's great to meet you, and thank you for helping us present this award to Maria Elena Salinas.
Thank you very much, Bruce, and thank you very much to Farmworker Justice. It's my honor and a pleasure to present Maria Elena Salinas. As one of the founders of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, Maria Elena Salinas has not only helped to lift an entire industry of Hispanic and Latino journalists, but lift up our communities across the United States. Personally, she has been a role model for myself as I've entered each stage and facet of my career, from network news television to recently acquiring the Latino News Network, and even in my new role as news presenter of Chicago Tonight's Latino Voices. Through Maria Elena, I've learned what it means to serve and empower in every capacity. Access to information are what empowers those who are underprivileged and seek equitable employment, healthcare, justice, and everyday home life for their loved ones. For several generations, families sat in their living rooms to watch a distinguished and reputable source, Maria Elena Salinas. And now, as she has embarked on a new stage into English language television with bold and fearless strides forward households that missed out on truly fair and accurate representation of the Latino experience are finally granted the privilege we have so well known and celebrated during her career thus far. Coverage such as the recent CBS News Pandemia, Latinos in Crisis news special is an example of the impact that Maria Elena Salinas has had on our nation. Profiles and revelations investigating around the plight of undocumented immigrant farm workers exist because of the work and advocacy platform that she has created. Her reporting and storytelling are effortlessly embedded with hope and empathy, carrying weight of our community's struggle. Maria Elena's intuition has remained ahead of our time, and she continues to create a fair an equitable path forward for all. I would not want to think of a world we would live in without her impact. On behalf of Farmworker Justice, and as the two-time president of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, it is an honor of my career to present my friend, my mentor, Maria Elena Salinas, the Social Justice Media Award.
Thank you so much, Hugo, for your very kind words. Like we say in Spanish, te pasaste. I do want to show this because it actually is an award, and I have received the award and I'm very happy. I will put it in a very special place. I am definitely honored to be recognized by Farmworker Justice and everything that comes with the organization. And Hugo, I want to thank you, besides for your introduction, also for serving honorably as NHJ president. And I have to tell you that as a founding member of NHJ, I'm very proud of the progress that we have made as an organization, facing all kinds of challenges throughout the years, but we're hanging in there, not just surviving, but we are actually thriving. And I'm really honored to receive this award from Farmworkers Justice. And I do want to thank you, the organization, for the work that you do for farm workers in our country. I think these awards should really go to the farm workers. They're so resilient. Their work ethic is impeccable. They work under the most dire conditions and do not nearly receive the recognition and the compensation and the gratitude that they deserve. I think we should all be ashamed as a country. We should be ashamed of ourselves, of the way that farm workers have been treated during this global pandemic. They are the essential workers. They have been risking their lives so that we can eat. And, you know, all while not getting the proper protection. They're not getting the proper medical care. Sometimes they're not qualifying for stimulus checks or unemployment. And on top of that, many are being threatened with losing their jobs if they should get sick and not be able to go to work. You know, fortunately, they do have angels that look out for them, like Farmworkers Justice and other organizations that have stepped up to provide them with some type of an aid and to speak up for them. It's good to know that they are not alone. No están solos. Well, as a journalist, I've had the opportunity several times farm workers face, and their stories do need to be told. We need to make sure that people appreciate what they do and that they're aware of the challenges that they face. And it's not just talking about the difficulties in their working conditions, but it's also who they are and how committed they are to the work that they do. You know, sometimes I'm tired that people are classified by what they do and not who they are. I think one of the things that would help us advance as a society, if we just took the time to get to know each other deep down inside. Who are you as a human being? What do you have to offer? You know, they do the work that they do because, like I said before, they have a very strong work ethic. And contrary to what many people say, immigrants don't come to this country to take anything away from anyone. They come to work. They come to work and they come for an opportunity to provide a better life for their families. I've had also several opportunities to see that, but there's two that left a mark on me. And it's 2 times that I was able to give, that was lucky enough, I should say, or honored to have been invited to give the commencement address for graduating Latinos students. One of them was at UC Fresno several years ago, and the other one was at Berkeley just a couple of years ago. Now, the majority of the parents in both occasions were farm workers, and the pride that they felt in seeing their kids graduate was so moving and so inspiring. And then to see the gratitude of their kids to the sacrifices that their parents have made was really very moving and very encouraging. I know that those young Latinos will now go on to do great things precisely because their parents gave them an incredible example of what it is to work hard. And the sacrifice that they made is the superpower that these young people will carry with them all their lives. We need to continue telling their stories, and not just that, we need to hear their stories from them. You know, my daughter complained to me one day when someone said that described me as a voice for the voiceless. And she said, Mom, that's ridiculous. What do you mean voiceless? No one's voiceless. Everybody has a voice. They just don't have a forum to use their voice. So let's provide them that forum. But either way, as long as I have a voice, I will continue to use it on behalf of my community. I want to thank you again, the Farmworkers Justice, for this very, very special recognition. And I want to thank all the farm workers for the hard work that you do. You deserve this recognition, and I share it with all of you.
Thank you, Maria Elena. That was very eloquent. And I'll say that, we are mildly hopeful that the designation of farm workers as essential workers during the pandemic has woken a number of people and policymakers up to the reality that farm workers are indispensable to our ability to eat, and that they are human beings who are affected by the pandemic, and yet they are working anyway, risking their lives, often without protections. So we believe farm workers do have power, they do have a voice, but as you said, they often don't have a forum, and they don't often have a way to express that power. And we hope that we and some other organizations will help them in this, what could be a new era for farm workers in this country. So thank you again. So this concludes our awards presentation. Please join us in each Tuesday during Hispanic Heritage Month, when we honor amazing individuals like Maria Elena Salinas, who work tirelessly to help poor people, to help Latinos, to help immigrants, to help farm workers achieve a greater measure of justice. These 30-minute videos are on our Facebook page and on our Farmworker Justice YouTube channel. We also have a wealth of information on our website, farmworkerjustice.org. You can see the schedule there too, but the videos, but we have advocacy pieces. We have curricula about health promotion. We have analyses of policy proposals, some of which we oppose, some of which we support. So please take a look around that website, visit our social media posts as well. We can't do this work without the support of people like you in our audience. We are a small organization that has a big impact, but even we, as dedicated as my colleagues are to helping farm workers, even we need financial support to be able to carry out that work. So please click on those links and make a donation, participate in our auction, make a donation to obtain a Farmworker Justice mask, and protect the health of you and your family members and your colleagues. So again, thank you to Maria Elena Salinas, thank you to Hugo Balta, and we'll see you next time.